Okay, bienvenidos a el mejor podcast en el mundo, J Tahoe's fabulous stream. Um, Tonight we're here, and we are going to be taking a break from a little bit of our black pill content to kind of discuss, how we got here. How the world has become a very different place than it was in the 90s throughout our lifetimes. Um, I'm joined tonight by my sister, Evelyn. Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you explain what that name is you've got there?
Yeah, it says Ruski Shpion, which means Russian spy, you know? But that's how you know I'm not a spy,
Interesting.
because a spy would never call themselves a spy, right?
Right. No, no, a spy would never call themselves a spy. And it's interesting, too, because, we, we've grown up together, and I never knew my entire lifetime that you were a Russian spy. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Joining our show for a second time, we have Bina. Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
I am wonderful this evening. Did you want to give us a quick introduction and tell us a little bit about your Babes of Anarchy podcast?
Sure. So I joined the ladies of Babes of Anarchy and I do tarot readings. And if anyone wants one, they can DM me. Maybe or maybe not. I'll give my Instagram tag because people are a little ruthless, so we'll see if people play nice. Yeah, that's me.
Fair enough. Thank you, Bina. Um, and then we have Aramar Jadavra, or Mike, with us again. Good evening.
Good evening, man.
Always glad to have you on the show. I think you bring some valuable insight.
I think I spice it up.
I would have to agree with that. Aramar Jadavra. How do you pronounce the full name in Discord, by the way? Aramar Sustiliori Jadavra?
It's supposed to sound really, 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 really fancy. So you have to say it in like a heroic or like a posh accent, I guess. Aramor Sestilator Tadavra.
That's amazing. I'm actually entranced.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a play on abracadabra. That's the point.
Is
Yeah.
it
Is it what?
is it Indian? Sorry to interrupt, Jay.
I'm not sure what it was. Because I did like a random name generator and I thought that phrase is cool.
Oh, cool. I want a random name generator, so send that over. Thank you.
It used to be free, but now you have to pay for it. I
Okay,
use
don't
like a
send it.
super professional.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't forget to subscribe to his OnlyFans.
No, I refuse to have an OnlyFans. It needs a better rep. Then if it cleans up its act somehow, which it won't, then I'll make one.
Well, we've got some OnlyFans. In fact, we've got a whole two people watching this show right now, so that's wonderful. And last but certainly not least, we have my girlfriend Mary returning for a second episode. Good evening from downstairs.
Good evening from upstairs. I'm happy to be a part of the show again. And Bina, I think we can call you Bippity Boppity Bina if you want a name generator.
I love that. Bippity boppity Bina.
Bippity Boppity Bina. And our friend Abracadabra over there.
And a Russian spy.
And a Russian spy. Yes.
This is wonderful.
Great. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. So as I said before, we're going to be taking a little break from the black pill stuff tonight to kind of move on to a more mainstream topic. But we will be taking callers after the end of our spiel. So I've sent the StreamYard link to several places. So if you'd like to be a guest, just follow the StreamYard link, and we will have people on after tonight's topics. So we're here. We're in 2020. We made it to September. I mean, considering, we almost had World War III, a global pandemic, the cities are burning down, gender reveal parties that caused wildfires. I mean, it's just amazing, that we're still here. It's like, what's going to happen next month? And I'm actually, if you guys want to take bets, my guess is going to be an asteroid that shoots out riot inciting COVID hornets. Does anybody want to make a wager on that?
No, I think that would be a dumb way to bet against that.
Yeah, I mean we've had everything else, so that's pretty much how we're gonna go. I think. Nah, we'll make it to December though.
Okay, but can I say something about that gender reveal thing?
Yeah, please.
It's like, okay, but people realize the problem was not that it was a gender reveal party, right? Like that's what everybody's focusing on. It could have been any party where they were deciding to blow things up in California. Like California catches fire all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, stupid people are stupid people, regardless of what they're doing. It was still really funny, though. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, hey, now the whole world knows it's a boy. So,
Was it? I keep hearing people say that. Was it actually a boy?
can somebody pull up the article? I'm pretty sure it was a boy, though. I'm pretty sure it was a boy.
I don't want to misgender the blow up baby.
Yeah, the forest fire. That's so interesting. When that person is like in their teens or like 20 years old, you know what a story that's going to be. It's going to be like, well, we set a forest on fire for you. When we were having your gender reveal, we caused a wildfire.
Yeah, and
Hottest
then
part.
imagine they turn out transgender. What a twist.
Oh wow, that would definitely take things for a twist.
Yeah, that would be the next big story. I'm not
Yeah.
seeing if it's a boy or a girl.
Because I thought when I saw the picture of like the smoke blowing out, it was blue. So
Yeah, I just pulled it up and it looks like it was a boy.
yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I know I'm crazy, but I know what I've seen.
And the party ended up costing the patrons more than $8 million in restitution.
Wow, that
Mhm.
that like that is a party gone wrong, right? You think you're gonna have some friends over, crack open some beers, let everybody know what gender your baby is gonna be, and then you end up causing a huge wildfire, and you owe $80 million in damages. That's just wow. How do you even come back from that?
You know how young I am. When I thought, like, when I heard the term gender reveal party for the first time, I thought it was like a tranny like coming out of the closet or something.
Yeah, I mean, when did
How
gender
young I
reveals
am.
really
That's
start?
how.
How long have we been doing this?
I would like to know the same thing too, because going off of what Ara Marar said, usually gender reveals are like coming out of the closet. Like back when I was in high school, it's like, oh my god,
Yeah,
he
that's what I
revealed.
totally thought. Yeah, I had no idea it was like, oh, this is my kid's a son or a daughter.
Right. So, all right. Well, I do want to kind of keep things on topic here. So, the topic of tonight's show is how the world has changed, since we grew up. So, we're here in 2020, and like the funny thing is that this year it seems like the world just changes every month, right? Like we're getting used to the whole working from remote thing, and now the kids are going back to school, and it's like some kids are they're going to school, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the other kids go to school Tuesday, Thursday, and they call it A days and B days, and the kids are 6 feet apart and they're wearing masks, and we got whole colleges shutting down because it was what Oneonta had like 621 cases. You told me
652 confirmed cases, I believe.
right, and so you got the whole school shutting down, and it's like wow, it's like it's so different than 2019. But when you want to think about it, like since we were kids, it's like it's an entirely different world we live in now, and I just wanted to kind of go around and ask everybody what moment in your life was like, did you realize like this is not the way things were like when we grew up? I'm really curious on that. So why don't we start with I'll start with you, babe. What was like the moment for you in your lifetime where you're like, nope, this is a totally different world that we're in now?
I think seeing kids on platforms like Instagram and Snapchat and, like TikTok, I think seeing them being so young, and I know I'm going to sound like a total prude for this, but covered in a full face of makeup and clothes that, you know, someone in their 20s or 30s would wear. I think that's when I was like, wait a second, something is completely changed here. I remember having an awkward phase, like pre-puberty, where I didn't know what I was doing with my makeup and my hair looked absolutely terrible. I had no idea what a straightener was. And I see these kids now, and I mean, they have makeup tutorials and they have, you know, filters for, you know, their pictures, and I'm just like, this is not remotely close to what I grew up with. This is a totally different world.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we didn't really see that, when we were that age.
when
Mike,
when I
Mike, how about you?
when I was for me, it was probably when they got rid of dial up and everything got super fast, high speed internet, and then everybody got a cell phone because people used to have house phones when I was a kid, and then once we all got cell phones, like I'd say at least half of my friends were like, okay, don't knock on the door anymore if you want to hang out. Call me first or message me first, and then the other half, we still just showed up at the house and rang the doorbell, and we still do that to this day. And it sort of separated people, like it sort of separated the, I guess, more like genuinely or super pro social people uh, from, I get people that were probably, antisocial a bit more, and were just sort of being able to, blend in more because they didn't have an excuse to, you know, stay indoors or whatever. Because it's kind of hard to tell your best friend, like, no, let's not hang out when you're standing face to face and just walk to your house or something, versus like a message where it's much easier to ghost people or to just ignore people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what the crazy thing is I was having a conversation with one of my friends a couple of years ago about how, when we were kids, a lot of the Zoomers, they never had a dial-up connection, the 56K modem, right? Um, which was so slow, and you could hear it connecting. It would make these, like, all these crackling noises. I would actually love to,
Yeah.
hear one of you guys imitate the noise, but it's like, once broadband internet became mainstream, it destroyed, at least speaking for myself anyway, it destroyed my attention span. Like, I get really impatient. If it takes a web page 30 seconds to load now, you're tapping your feet and you're getting impatient and you're getting angry. But you got to remember, when we were kids, it took a minute, 2 minutes. If you wanted to load a video, oh my god, it was like 10 minutes. And guess what? If somebody answers the phone, you're loading up that video again, boyo. So it really is. That to me, that's a really good example of a different world we live in. Because, like, to put it in perspective, you would have told me, if I could get in a time machine, right, and visit myself as a 10-year-old and tell 10-year-old me, yeah, you're gonna have a phone you can whip out of your pocket, in your 20s, and you can have a full-on video chat with somebody, on the other side of the world. I would have called you a liar, and if you would have shown it to me, I would have probably, in all actuality, crapped my pants. Like, that's how much of a fantasy that sounded like back in the 90s. So that to me is just like, how exponentially technology has grown in our lifetime.
Do most fantasies normally make you crap your pants, Jay?
Maybe, but we don't talk about that.
Okay.
Um, and my dear sister, what would you say was the moment, where you realized that we are in a different world now?
So, first of all, I'm not sure if Gen Z is as young as you think, because I have friends that are Gen Z. They're like in their 20s, like early 20s, but they're not that young. But they are different. So they all talk over Snapchat. That's what I've been forced to do. All communications are Snapchat groups. And then everybody's like,
Snapchat
really,
has groups?
yeah, group,
Holy
group
shit,
text on
I'm a boomer.
I didn't.
Snapchat.
I didn't know that.
Do people still use Kick?
I don't know.
No.
I never had one of those.
But they're also all really cool with like stalking each other. Like everybody shares their location. And it's like, oh, where's our friend blah blah blah? And then they just like look, they're like, oh, she's at this person's house. Like it's weird. I don't know. I think they're less into like privacy. I think they're just used to everybody knowing all their business.
Yeah, I mean, at that age, I would have never wanted that. I held off on getting a cell phone as long as I could. It's like, I don't want people knowing where I am. I don't want people being able to hit me up all the time. Like we live and die by the smartphone is the funny part. Like it's great having access to all this information at the touch of a finger, but at the same time, it's also like people know where you are. And I was talking about this on another stream one time with First. I was driving one day and my phone just kept buzzing like nonstop for 5 minutes, notification after notification, and I had like a little like breakdown. I started gritting the teeth and punching the steering wheel. And I was like, God, if everybody could shut up for like 2 seconds, it'd be great. I'm sorry, did you have something to say, Bina? I saw you came off mute.
No, no, I was just laughing. I was like, good God.
Can you
How much?
relate though? Like,
I mean, I can relate. That's why I've been like, especially nowadays, I'm like, oh boy. Like, I woke up to like 152 text messages the other day because I'm in like 3 groups. And I'm like, why? Like, we don't need to be this social. Like, we can just say, hey, want to hang out? And like going off of what you said, I think a pivotal moment for me was the start of the iPhone era. I feel like iPhones have changed everything for better and for worse. Like you said, I mean, now you have a small phone, well, now even smaller, that you are able to access everything and anything whenever you want. And, this goes off of bullying. In high school, I know when I was in high school, you bully by what aim? You threw paper planes, you would joke. Like now it's just reached such a capacity where I feel so bad for these kids nowadays.
yeah, it is true. I know, like we all kind of I know you have, babe. Have any of you guys seen the new show Cobra Kai on Netflix?
No.
I've just seen the fighting clips.
What about you, Addie? Have you seen any of it?
No, I've heard it was really good. People in the office were actually talking about it today, so should watch
It,
it.
it's amazing, and it's really funny because it's for those of you guys who haven't seen it, I highly recommend this show. It's based off of a movie series from the '80s called The Karate Kid, actually, which stars Long Island native Ralph Macchio. And the movie actually the show rather, does a really good job bridging the world of a person who grew up in the '80s, living in today's society. There's a part where the guy opens up a dojo, and he has a kid who's being bullied in the dojo, and they send me harassing emails. They call me fat, and tell me to kill myself, and he goes, "Oh my God, that's horrible. That's the most cowardly thing I've ever seen. In my day, when you made fun of somebody, you said it to their face." He goes, "Well, don't worry. You're going to send a message back, and not with your keyboard, with your fist." So it kind of made me think back to I was like, one, that's a badass quote, and two, it's like back in the '90s, like you had a beef with somebody, there was none of it. Even like I'm talking pre-aim, there was none of this like I'm gonna bully you via email, via text. No, like you said it right to their face, and somebody didn't like something you had to say, you got punched in the face. Like it I was in a few scraps when I was a kid. But I don't know, I kind of feel like that, like a lot of all of the schools now are very anti-bullying, which I get. I would never, if I had a kid, I would never want him to be the aggressor. But it's almost like if you don't, that kind of, I talked about this in one of my podcasts once, like having that kind of adversity actually does prepare you for a confrontation when you're an adult. So it's like, it can be character building. That's all I'm saying. I'm not advocating bullying, but I'm saying like when you have that confrontation, it can actually cause you to grow and to respond to it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. A lot of the guys I've seen like in the Blackville stuff are like big man children that didn't actually have any problems happen to them, but they didn't have anything good happen to them either for the most part. It's sort of like there wasn't some big adversity that they had to overcome, um, and I think that kind of stunted them because there's no growth. It's like muscle building, like some adversity that you can realistically overcome to build your confidence. It doesn't seem like these guys have had that. And I think just in society in general, they have like there's the whole special snowflake thing now. Everybody gets a trophy. And I think that kind of diminishes resilience when you become an adult. I think there's just more people that don't really know what it means to be an adult, at least communication wise.
Well, I mean, the thing going off of what you said, Amarar, the thing with bullying is you rarely see it once and like once a month to one person. Usually if you're being bullied, it's by multiple people, in multiple ways. So I understand you guys feel like it's character building, but to what extent does it really just break your spirit and break your character? Especially with the forms of bullying nowadays, and even back before AIM, with the cliques that you have in high school, if you have one person who's, trying to beat you up and confronting you, most likely you have 7 people behind that one person who also want to confront you too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I do think that's very cowardly to attack somebody in a group, but I'm not going to say that that does happen. I know it's different for different people. I think some people will be crushed under that pressure and they won't, see their way out. Me personally, I fed off of having haters. Um, when I got bullied, I spent a lot of time into working out, and by the time you guys know the story. Like by the time senior year rolled around, I was all jacked and everything, and nobody wanted to fight anymore. Because like, oh, what do you what do you have to say now? So for some people it's a motivating factor. Other people it completely crushes them. So it's like again, not advocating. I'm not advocating bullying, but like it's like I'm just saying like the Zoomers and everything now. And to be clear, we're not here to crap all over Zoomers, but it's like adversity in the form of a to put it. I got punched into a bus window on the bus in first grade. So like that put a lot of things in perspective for me. It's like, oh, I run my mouth to like a third grader when I'm a first grader, I'm probably going to get my ass kicked. So I learned that lesson, right? I learned that like you got to you can't run your mouth unless you can back it up. And actually, like the best part was you black pilled people who watch this content are gonna love this. The guy who punched me was actually named Chad. He didn't grow up to be a quote unquote Chad, but his name was actually Chad.
That's more than enough. I'm convinced. You convinced me that's more than enough.
But yeah, let's read this comment here. We seem to have lost Mary. She said, "Could you imagine being bullied now with social media? Kids now can't catch a break." It's true though. It is a constant bombardment. So if you're being picked on, it's like you really can't avoid it. At least that is true. Because now it's like back in the day when you went home from school, like after the kid punched me in the face, it was over, right? Like I got punched, I took my lumps and it was over. It's like now you can't get away from it. It's 24/7. So that is a really good point.
But I
Yeah.
mean, would you even call that bullying? Because I mean, you can fight a kid that you've had some, beef with and then settle it. And that's just really like, all right, we've had a little thing and now we're just going to fight. I feel like bullying is more like extended periods of time.
Yeah, well, that's how it's changed. Like back in the day, you'd have the fight on the schoolyard and it was done and over with. Whereas now it's a continuous thing and you can't really escape it because it's 24/7. People because like my sister was saying, people know where you are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they do it online. You can't unless you just turn your phone off or avoid the internet. But that's really
No one is doing that. No one is doing that at all.
Yeah, no one is. But I heard they were thinking of fining kids now, and actually charging them for bullying. And I wonder if they're actually going to go through with that.
So, in other words, find the parents, because I mean, the kids. How is that going to work?
I don't know. I don't know, but I guess it also depends on like the severity of the bullying, because obviously we've had a lot of tragic cases where kids have hung themselves, and it's really sad. So I know they're trying to take drastic measures now, because I mean it's unacceptable. Like, well, what do you do? Well, she was bullying me to an extent where she went home and she hung herself. Like, what do you say? What do you do to that? There needs to be some sort of justice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that I think it's hard for people who didn't grow up in that kind of environment to understand. I guess even me as a millennial, I don't really, because that's not how we did it. When we were growing up. Um,
Yeah,
let's
same.
see. Mary says now bullies can turn others into memes, add nasty comments to their Instagram and Facebook pictures. Yeah, that's what we've been saying. Like, there's really no escape from it. So it can definitely have a scarring impact on somebody's psyche, because their kids their psyche is developing, right? That's when they're very impressionable. So if you don't have that resiliency, it can really crush someone. So it's like, how do we stop this?
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that. I don't see, like, from what I've seen, psychiatry isn't helping. I think it's just psychiatry isn't advanced enough to help like modern day people that aren't like so messed up that they have to go, stay in a facility for X amount of time. But I think it's just there's a lot of uh just I don't know how to explain it. On lack of resiliency just everywhere, and people just living, super depressed lives. Like I think depression has skyrocketed, like actual diagnosed depression.
So we were, and I like I said, I do want to take a break from Black Pill tonight, but we see it a lot, right, in the Discord and everything. There's almost this like defeatist mentality, and it's really, really common. It's really, really common in our younger crowd, and I'm almost wondering if like being in an environment like that just kind of like pushes people into that mentality. Because to be clear, the millennials, we were the first generation to have it worse than our parents. We're inheriting a garbage job market. The wages haven't caught up to inflation at all. We're not going to collect Social Security, but it's like it seems to be it is getting worse. But like the mental state that I've seen anyway from the younger generation just seems to be there. They seem, a lot of them anyway, seem already defeated.
Yeah, and that's like totally mainstream. Like that's all I see on my Facebook, and I have a very large amount of Facebook friends, and I'm pretty popular where I live, and that's really what I see is like a big struggle just in general with life circumstance right now. And 2020 exacerbating everything.
I personally don't believe it's the lack of advancement in psychology. I think it's the lack of accessibility. I mean, we've entered an era where technology is so prominent, yet we're not giving our high school kids or anyone just therapy in general. That's what we need, especially, these youngins who are exposed to so much. I mean, you have so many civil movements, you have a pandemic, you have, online bullying, you have so many things hitting people at once, and they don't have somebody to really talk to help them through this. And then you have parents that may or may not be supportive of therapy. I mean, I know I've spoken to a lot of boomers who just don't believe in therapy. That's one of the main reasons why they call us millennial snowflakes. You guys are just sensitive. You can't take criticism. You can't hold a job. Somebody tells you one thing and you leave, which I don't think is true, but that's just my 2 cents.
Hey, let me call out this comment. Mary says LDR, lay down and rot. That's a
God.
that's a that's a
Oh
that's
my
a that's a
God.
that's a euphemism that we see all the time. Lay down and rot. It's
Dude,
that
when I first saw that, I was like, what is this? Why I can't believe that is an actual like what is it? Like life philosophy that's gotten even the smallest amount of traction. Like, how is that going to help you in life at all? It's not.
Yeah. Bina or Evelyn, have you guys ever heard that terminology? Lay down and rot.
No.
I've never.
So we see it in Black Pill and in Zoomers. It means lay down and rot. It means that life is so stacked against you, you don't have a chance. You're never going to be happy. So just basically stay in your parents' basement, play video games, and enjoy all your copes because it's never going to get better. And the problem, is a lot like this is not like a fringe thing. There's a lot of people who feel that.
The
And
modern day nihilist.
Yeah, it is very nihilistic.
I'm really
And it's
surprised.
not like
I'm
and it's
sorry.
not like a no, it's cool.
Well,
You can
here,
go ahead.
yeah, Mike, let's let Bina go, and then we'll go to you.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. And it's not like the cool nihilistic like emo, which is sort of like, you know,
Nietzsche.
yeah, exactly. It's more like just complete void, total darkness, actual defeatism. And emo's a phase. And this isn't a phase. This is a total lifestyle that people are going through.
Well, at what point do like parents get involved if you're younger and you're, LDRing? Or, I mean, if you're older in your 30s, LDRing, like at what point do people around you who love you see that, oh, wow, this isn't just him or her being lazy, this is a mental illness?
Yeah,
So
that's a good question.
and that comes off of because there are people who I talk to. I think they maybe they're mentally ill. I mean, I'm not in a position to diagnose anybody, but and then there's other people who it's like I don't think they're mentally ill, but they're just like they've seen so much of this that it's like they become like trapped in that mentality. And you saw, Mike, you were there for the first stream when we had first debating my parents, how much of a philosophical gap that there is between generations.
Yeah, that was a really big, huge gap. It was doomer versus boomer, if I remember correctly.
B-Day Spec says, what is LDR? Is it related to ER? No, it's not. We actually just touched on that. LDR is lay down and rot. It's it's that defeatist mentality. Stay in the basement, play video games, piss into a pee jug because life ain't getting any better. So
That's just
actually, I gotta. You just reminded me I have to empty my pee jugs.
Damn. Made a checklist.
So hey, I just
Actually,
realized I never. Do we
I made
have
a
a LDAR checklist?
yeah, because I actually write for well, I was like a big writer for this Wikipedia that they have, the Incel Wikipedia, and like I I got a lot of flack for like going against the narrative, like pushing the actual truth or whatever, blah blah blah. But I did make a checklist. I said, "Are you incel? Are you 1 to 4 in looks? Do you earn less than $60,000 per year? And do you have no extraordinary traits or abilities, such as extremely high IQ, creativity, or exceptional strength?" If answered yes to all of those questions, then you may find yourself LDRing.
So after that checklist, if the majority answer was yes, what would your response be? I mean, what would you advise?
Oh, I would advise to change, like not LDR, but that was, I would say turn your life around. But that's just, if somebody was like, am I LDRing or or is this normal? I don't know. I just made a checklist so people would know what's going on.
I was gonna ask you, Armor, are there levels to LDRing? Like, can I not be in my basement and work but just hate my job? Am I LDRing because and not changing jobs because I'm LDRing? If that makes sense, like, or do I have to go the full on? I'm in the
You
basement, like, leave
you
me
have
alone.
to be full on. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to be full on. That's why I said if you answered yes to all of those questions. So, are you incel? Are you 1 to 4 in looks? Do you earn less than 60,000? Do you have no extraordinary traits or abilities whatsoever? If answered yes to all of those, then that person may be currently laying down and rotting.
I mean, I don't know to what extent I agree with that, but I would say I don't think there's really a hard criteria
Yeah.
because Mary
That
says
was
go
my
big or go home. Yeah, it's unemployment or nothing. We're going for broke here. But I don't think there's really a hard criteria because there's a term that we've come across called NEAT that stands for not employed in education or training, and it basically means not working, not hoping to work, and basically staying home, eating tendies, and and playing games all day. Oh, and drinking Mountain Dew, of course. But
Sounds
you
so
know
familiar.
what, Bina?
I said it sounds so familiar. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, well, if you're a NEAT, you're basically LDRing. But the point, the reason that people go NEAT is because they feel that well, they're just going to work some like wage slaving job that they can barely scrape by, barely afford their apartment. They have no relationship anyway. So why, pay taxes into a system where you're going to pay taxes to, to people who had children out of wedlock and you're basically supporting them because the father split and, the government needs to give out welfare money. I'm not saying that this is how I think, but this is how people see it, which motivates that lifestyle. Have you guys ever heard that term, by the way, NEAT?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
familiar with meat.
Never.
It's because I read manga. It's my dirty
It's more
secret.
popular. Yeah, it's
There's a
more
manga
popular in
about
Asia.
NEAT.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think I want to say that the term originated from that, or like in Japan, maybe.
I think it has.
Interesting. Which manga did that come from?
Between
There's one I read a long time ago. It's called Welcome to the NHK. It was probably like 12 years ago or so.
Didn't I get you one of those for Christmas one year?
You might have.
Yeah, I remember you liked. So wait, so this was a concept like 12 years ago?
Yeah, probably even before that.
Wow, I'm learning. I am learning tonight. We gonna learn today.
We gonna learn today.
Wow. So I just realized I never shared the moment we were in a different world. I'm actually really surprised. Like no one brought this up, but I would still, even though like with everything that's happened, I would still have to go with 9/11. Um, and I was 11 years old when it happened, almost 12 years old, and I just remember like so Evelyn, do you remember when we were kids? Like we drove right into Canada, and you didn't need passports, and we just went through customs, and it was like no big deal.
Oh yeah.
Like we just waltzed right into Canada, and nobody really said anything. It's like now you got to have a passport or an enhanced driver's license. That was really like we talk about the lockdown now, but I think 9/11 kind of put the world on lockdown.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like everything, the airport security was nothing before that. Like you could walk right through. Like it was nothing. People were afraid to fly for a long time after that. It really just showed us that anybody could. It was one of those moments that really just showed us that like no matter how big and bad we think they are, a bunch of pissed off people can cause a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So, oh, you just posted the link to the Welcome to the NHK and the. You want to post that on the YouTube actually, so that people can
How
check
do
it
you
out?
How do you do that?
If you go to the if you go into YouTube and pull up the stream, you can actually just go on my Facebook and you can there's a link to the YouTube. So if you post and then you can comment right onto the stream in YouTube.
Well, you could go ahead and put that in there. Go on my YouTube.
Okay, yeah, I'll post it.
But yeah, that's apparently
Let me
it's
just
from 2003. So this is a really old term.
Here, I don't want to cut you off. Let me just read Murray's comment. As tragic as it was, it brought us together, and yeah, that actually is really a good point. I can't remember any time in my life where Americans were actually on the same page and together. Like, you know, where we talked about this on the stream with First, that there's no more nuance, right? We have people to the extreme left, people to the extreme right, and they don't want to meet in the middle. The last time in my life that I can actually remember, like Americans actually like all being on the same page, all being behind the president, all being behind, you know, bringing justice to the people who did this was 9/11. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it was a rather uncomfortable moment for myself, my family, and a lot of other, you know, Muslims in the world who had to face a lot of prejudice. It was a turning point for us. So, you know, even though a lot of people might feel like, wow, it brought us together, which it did, and you know, a lot of us obviously are against the people who have done this, it also had kind of separated us from the world. It was kind of America versus the Muslims at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a lot of ignorance because we saw, you know, so Evelyn, you remember we had an ice cream man who was from Turkey, you know, not even from Afghanistan or, you know, where the supposed where the Taliban was supposedly hiding. But you know, he looked a certain way, and we watched it firsthand. You know, he received a lot of racism, and he's, you know, the neighborhood ice cream man. Everybody loved him before that. And you know, he was attacked for the way he looked.
Even till this day, I mean, like things have gotten, I don't even want to say that. Everyone has their own individual experiences. There are different groups in the religion, and those who are more conservative than others. And I know, being a liberal progressive, not really practicing Muslim, like I don't really see it. People don't really know that I am. I can walk into a bar. But you know, those who are more apparent in like their apparel with like the scarves. I have cousins. We went to Washington D.C. and as soon as we entered, it was, oh, the terrorists are here. Open, you know, no shame. So it's sad, but it's a sad reality.
Yeah, I mean, it was you know, I mean, I that's not to say everybody was ignorant. I think a lot of people were, it's yeah, there's the difference between Taliban and Muslim. But yeah, there were a lot of people who were not educated, didn't know the difference, and yeah, it came out in the form of some pretty bad racism. But I remember that, and I remember the treatment that our local ice cream man got following 9/11. But yeah, that for me, that was my moment where I realized it's a different world now.
Wow.
Yeah. Here, let me find that link that my sister sent. I think it's in the chat here. Let me just copy that, and I'm going to post that into the YouTube chat. What's that manga about anyway? Welcome to the NHK.
Well, basically the main guy is what you would call a NEET. I think he's 22, and basically shows him like kind of being a hermit, withdrawing from society, and then he meets a girl. I don't remember exactly because it was so long ago, but seems I should probably reread it, but it's probably relevant to what you guys are talking about today, you know, and kind of like how do people get to that point where they don't want to even be a part of society anymore?
Right. Yeah, so that's really interesting that they were already addressing this topic, 10, 12 years ago. Well, 2003, so actually almost 20 years ago. 17 years ago. I can math. I posted the link to that manga, by the way, in the Wikipedia page that talks about it in the YouTube chat. All right. So yeah, pretty crazy how much things have changed just within our lifetime. And I think when we were talking to mom and dad a couple of streams ago when we had first on, it was just really apparent. So that's why I wanted to have tonight's stream and kind of talk about like it really is like an entirely different place. And I think we like the first step into getting anywhere is we kind of got to get all the generations on the same page because from what I've seen nobody really understands each other or really wants to understand each other. What do you guys think?
I think I agree with that. I think at least, from what you see online, right? It's like people go for the boomers and then they attack the zoomers and nobody really talks about Gen X. Everybody forgets about them, but and the millennials, the millennials are just the crybabies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ruining every industry or whatever.
yeah, because we won't stay in a job for 40 years.
And we spend too much money on avocado toast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big problem for me actually. My avocado toast addiction.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think if you're gonna to like talk about all the ways the world has changed in our lifetime, I think you should also acknowledge that some things haven't really changed. Some things it seems like always stay the same, or I think people have like moral panics about things, and there's always going to be that, right? Like when we were kids, our parents were like, you watch too much TV. And now it's like kids are on their iPads too much, There's always something. And in the long run, I don't think these things are as detrimental as people act like they are.
Well, I don't know about that. 'Cause, like, I think like if you're raising your kid with an iPad, that can definitely be problematic, and I think we're starting to see that now in with some of the Zoomers who the social skills are kind of poor. But I mean, again, that could just be my perception because I had a different upbringing.
Yeah, but
No,
like
I think it's
mom
good.
thought that if you watch Power Rangers, you'd become violent. And you watch Power Rangers and you're not a sociopath, right?
I mean, I'm a little sociopathic, but
Oh, well, there you go.
I knew he'd hesitate.
just a little bit though. Yeah. What do you think, Mike?
I think that there's a drastic decrease in people's social skills. That's my personal opinion. That's what I've seen.
And I think maybe people's social skills have kind of changed, Like personally, I feel more comfortable if I need to get in touch with a business. Like, so sorry. Huh?
Hey, you cut out there. Can you just repeat that? You cut out there a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was saying like I think that people's social skills have changed. Maybe like for me, I feel like way more comfortable making phone calls. And I think Gen Z likes to text, but it's not like one's necessarily better than the other,
Yeah, that is true. It's a different way of communication, and we had that with our parents when we were little. They didn't know like how to use AIM or anything like that we grew up with, and we were just like, wow, they just don't get it. So I think yeah, there is some of that. Like I'm sure the Zoomers look at us in that regard sometimes like, oh yeah, they just don't get it because like they don't. It's not the same as what we're experiencing right now. So that's why I try that. Like to be clear, that's why like I found like the black pill stuff because I'm trying to understand it because like the worldview that are expressed in a lot of that community is different from what I see around me, and people will just say, "Oh, you're coping, you're denying reality," but no, it's like when I go outside, what I see and what I saw in my lifetime is different than what's being reported. And Addie, I never asked you, by the way. I know you'd seen the podcast, but we've talked about some of this stuff. We never asked you what's your opinion on this black pill stuff?
I'm not totally familiar with what black pill is.
Oh man, did
It's
you
like,
did you
have
watch
you
that?
seen?
I'm sorry. You want to go ahead, Mike?
Yeah. Have you seen the Joker? You've seen the Joker movie, right? With Joaquin Phoenix.
No, I'm
Did
kind
you
of familiar with what that's about, but I never saw it.
I never saw it either. I only saw like the important clips, but that's made the black pill. It made the word incel mainstream, since there's
Okay,
this
yeah, I know
big
what
like.
incels are.
Okay, yeah, it's basic. It's the same thing. It's their philosophy about life, essentially. So if you know about incels, then you ultimately have been exposed to black pill at some level.
So is black pill just like embracing being an incel?
Yeah, for the
But
most
it
part.
but it's saying it's
And it
not
has,
your fault. It's if you're born ugly or you're born short. The reason that you get rejected is because of those things, and you have no control over it. So, what do you think about that? Like, so let's just ask you, like, for you, right? What advice would you give a guy who's like 5'3" and has a recessed chin and balding, if you were trying to date?
Hmm.
he hesitated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. To be honest, I don't know what kind of advice I'd give anybody trying to date, even if they look like Brad Pitt or whatever. I'm sure they'd still come across problems and stuff, but maybe dating isn't like the end all be all of life, right? Like, I feel like you could have a totally fulfilling life without that aspect of it. I don't know.
So I already know an incel's argument to you would be like, well, easy for you to say, you can go on Tinder and get, 400 matches in a week. That's like telling a starving person in Africa, food ain't that great. That would be their argument. What would what would you say to that?
I mean, you know what? I think that could be a fair point, right? It's not easy to talk about things that you yourself haven't experienced. But I don't, you know, from a woman's perspective, like guys always say that, right? Like, oh yeah, you could just go on Tinder and like match with 400 guys. I don't think women are having as great a time with that as men might think.
Can you tell us some of your experiences?
Well, I haven't been on Tinder in a long time. But well, okay, a lot of times you're familiar with the term fuckboy.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, women run into that a lot, right? Guys who just play them and stuff, and then they're left feeling really dumb and feeling shitty about themselves. I don't think, they're like, it's a fun party of all hookers and blow all the time, right? Tinder can suck for everybody.
So,
I can.
segui il tuo corso et lascia dir les gente says the guys she was with weren't Chad. Big letdown. So is that true? Do you just go for Chads?
we should
um,
we should we should show them what Chad looks like, because they probably don't know.
Well, I think we all know. We're all,
Well, just
Evelyn, you're familiar
guys
with the
that
term Chad, right?
you could just
yeah.
guys that look like this profile picture that I have. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, this is just my subjective opinion, but I would say your last ex-boyfriend was not Chad.
I guess not. No, I don't know.
I don't
Did he
even
look
know.
did he look like this profile picture that I have? In
No.
any way, shape, or form? She said no.
Yeah, she said no.
Okay, then no, he was not Chad.
If that's how Chad looks like, I don't.
I think
Chad
Chad
is supposed to be
is unrealistic beauty
yeah,
expectations.
yeah. That's what Chad is. He's totally unrealistic.
So the theory, right, in the black pill is if a guy is below male model quality, like an 8 out of 10, he's not really attractive. Like if you have some guy who's like a 6 out of 10 and is like slightly handsome, you're not really attracted to him, and you're just using him for money.
Some of them don't even have money though.
But like, what if? But so it's right. So I'm saying that I don't agree with that statement.
Right.
But I'm
I
saying
know
like
that.
like is like a guy who's like a 6 out of 10 and like not and isn't rich. Like what's his fate in this world?
Well, you either go back to school or you start playing the lotto.
Wow.
Right, but like a 6 out of 10 guy, is he actually attractive or
I mean,
he's got to be
again,
rich?
depends. A 6 to me, yeah, I guess you would be
Big.
semi-attractive, and there's a lot of things that go into that too. I mean, if he has no job and if
That's
he's not exactly the most respectful person, if there's no sexual chemistry, then yeah, I don't know what to tell you. But I mean, if he's attractive and he has a few things going for him, he has a career, intimacy is great, then I don't see why he wouldn't find somebody.
Oh well, the theory is that the 8 out of 10s will. There's no problem there. But like
well.
the people who are like 5 to 8 out of 10, they there's a term they use. It's called beta bucks. It means that he's not really loved or appreciated. If you were to lose his job tomorrow, then you're gone. Whereas if he's above 8 in looks, then no. Well, what do you guys think of that?
Somebody commented, "I have my dick going for me."
I know. I saw that comment.
Well, that's good, man. We salute you.
Yeah, for Harambe, is that it? Dick's out.
I'm gonna call him after the show. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that maybe people are overestimating other people's happiness. I don't know. These 8 out of 10 guys, whatever. I mean, I know people like this who they still can't like have a happy relationship. They still, struggle with that for whatever reason. So it's not just about your looks at all.
I mean, we do, not for nothing, we know a quote unquote Chad whose marriage ended in divorce.
Yeah.
So it's like I think there's like what people aren't realizing is that social media is a highlight reel. People only post the good things that happen to them there. So it's like, you might think that like, it'd be great to be Chad, but I mean, I've known plenty of really good looking dudes who like their lives were far from perfect. I mean, the only thing I would say is that sex comes easy to you, and you might think, oh, that's great. That's all I need in life. But that doesn't free you from like the other problems.
Yeah, for real. I mean, look what happened to Britney Spears, and then she had that whole song,
But I also wouldn't deny that being really good looking definitely does make life easier for you in some regards.
Sure, in some regards. I'm sure it makes it harder for you in other regards.
Well, yeah. Well, the way there's a halo effect, there's a phalo effect for people who aren't good looking. But again, that's where you actually have to have skill and actually be able to back it up if you're not. But the essence of the black pill is it's the modern day philosophical determinism. You're either born a certain thing or you're not. You're either born tall and good looking, and if you are, then you'll get women easily, you'll get career success easily, and if you're born ugly, society will just crap all over you. That's essentially what my takeaway from the black pill.
Which is that mentality is so that these guys have created. It's so dumb to me because all of these male models that these guys obsess for are looks max beyond anything. Like they go to the gym every day, they have like get teeth whitening, they all types of skin treatments. They like take what are those things? Diuretics or whatever to like completely flush their body to get super angular on their show day. these people aren't just born good looking. I mean, sure, they're born tall and sure they're born good looking, but they do a lot on top of it to be, to look this good. And then same thing with females. They go on like extreme crash diets or whatever to get thin, to be a Victoria's Secret model. So the whole concept of, to be, you just don't have to do anything is just completely dumb, in my opinion.
Yeah, because we don't take into account that Hollywood celebrities are manufactured, right? How many surgeries, that they've had and facelifts, like some of these stuff that I see in the chats of like these guys with these ridiculously angular jawlines. Me and my girlfriend were talking about this. We're like, nobody really looks like that. But let's read out this comment. Can somebody read this comment for me?
Do you
This
have to
is
sing it?
this is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 5% pain.
15% pain and 100% reason to remember the name.
Mm.
Oh, that takes me back to
What is
like the
that?
track days in high school, Fort Minor. Good song.
Oh, I should have sang it then. Oh well.
So anyway, Evelyn, your opinion on that deterministic philosophy, right? What's
Mhm.
being what we've talked about? What is your opinion on that?
I just think that, if that's how you're going to view life, then you're always going to be unhappy. If you feel that you don't have any control over your own fate.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had because it's true. You don't. There are plenty of things in your life that you don't control. I mean, you and I would say didn't have the great. We had a decent upbringing, but we definitely had the moments that weren't great, right? We had some definitely character making struggles in our childhood. We're not going to go too much into it, but you
Yeah.
would agree, right?
Yeah. Some
You know,
adversity to overcome.
there were definitely some bad things that happened to us when we were kids that could have pushed us into that mentality, and we're here, we're doing it, we're all doing okay. So it's like um, there's a point where there is some truth to it. Like if you're born, with the cards stacked against you, things are definitely going to be harder. You're going to have to work a lot harder than some other people. But I look at it I don't know. This is how I personally look at it. It's kind of like saying oh, a good looking guy will have women come to him easy. I look at that as saying, so I shouldn't try at all. That's like me getting up and saying, well, Jeff Bezos is always going to have more money for me. He's not even going to have to work anymore. Like if he were to stop working tomorrow, his money will make him money, right? He's got that much invested. So I shouldn't even try. I shouldn't even try to make a six-figure salary so I can, live a happy life for me. That's at the end of the day, that's how I view it. It's kind of like saying like, well, it's not going to be as easy for me as it is for, that person. So I guess I should just give up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just not my philosophy on life. Like I think you control a lot of your own destiny. And yeah, like you have to play the hand that you're dealt, right? Like nobody can deny that or be like, I don't know, say that like it's not fair. Life's not fair, but you have to make the best of it.
Yeah, you gotta do the best with the hand you were given. I mean, I'm not, like we said, we've never told a person who's like 5'3", balding and has a recessed chin, like yeah, probably that's gonna be really hard for you, man. Like it probably, that saying it's over. It might be for somebody in that situation, but we see a lot of people who also we see a lot of people in that community who are actually like rather normal looking or slightly below average who think it's over for them. So I don't know how true that is either. Let's call out this comment actually. People at the top of the schemes often believe they got there through hard work. So yeah, I do think that's true. Like we definitely have the Tony Robbinses and the scammers and those scammers of the world and the MLM scammers. I mean, we know that that's true, but there are actually people who were born into bad situations who made it to where they are through hard work too. So it's like I said, man, I was 120 pounds as a freshman. I was day in, day out at the gym, 2 hours a day. running 3 to 5 miles a day. It was not like, it was like, so when people say like, oh, it's a determinism, like, no, like I put blood, sweat, and tears into that for 3 fucking years. If you're telling me that oh, you were just born a certain way, fuck off. Like, and I mean that in the most sincere way. Fuck off. Like, that was hard work. And in the career world too, I go on some of these streams where guys like, oh well, a short guy won't be taken seriously for a management position. I'm 5'7" and I've been in a management position in almost every job I've ever been in. Like, it's because I demonstrate skill. So, that too, that's like, if you want to be that defeatist and go rot under your bed, you do that. But, I'm just saying, like, for people who have actually done there, put in a lot of hours, work really hard for what they have, even if they don't have like the best in the world. Like, I'm not rich. I don't even own a home. Okay. I have, a decent apartment and, and a couple of cars because I fix up cars. So I buy junky ones and kind of fix them up. But like, again, it's like, none of that was handed. It wasn't born. We were actually, like I said, we were kind of born into, we didn't grow up with money. We grew up on like $50K a year to 3 kids until, our dad changed careers. So it's like, we know both sides of the spectrum here. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I see what he means about the people like Tony Robbins and like those people who who bullshit people into like thinking like, oh, you just have to believe hard enough. No, it's not that. You need to actually like you do need to actually put in the work and play the best hand you have.
Yeah.
So when BLM burns your car, what was all that hard work for? Well, I still had it. I still had the success. Obviously, like, I can buy a cheap car and get another, dude. Like, that wouldn't faze me in the least.
Oh, but you would be pissed, but
Oh yeah, no, I'd kill the little asshole that did it. But like I'm saying, like, I'm also prepared to defend my home. Just saying.
As you should be.
So.
yeah.
But I'm saying, like, that's another thing too, that in terms of laying down and rotting. Like, I'm telling you right now, if that were to happen, I'm fighting to the death. My goal too is like, the harder I work, the harder I have to make the more I do, the more successful I become, the more jacked I become. Like, that makes the quote unquote Chads have to work harder they don't get to rest on their laurels. It's like it's like we talked about this before. You have a really talented athlete who has great genetic potential, and you have the person who just trains, way harder than them, right? That's not to say that, people with talent don't train hard, but there's that saying, hard work picks up where talent leaves off. So if a talented person isn't, putting in, the work that they should, somebody below them can surpass them, or at least make it an even playing field. Like, so this, like, lay down and rot, like, I don't buy it.
I think it's just an excuse. Like, maybe they were going to do that anyway. But now they have a
Chads don't work.
excuse.
Chads get profit. No, that's you're gonna use the outlier example of Jeremy Meeks, who is so extremely good looking that his mugshot went viral and he got a deal. That's an outlier. Weak argument. I know plenty of Chads who hey, Mike, what about your Giga Chad friend? What's his career like?
So before he was homeless, so that was like he okay, so let me think. After high school, he had jobs in high school, and then he joined the military, but he didn't like stick with it because he got like real religious or whatever and said like, yeah, this wasn't for me. And he was a waiter, and they kept saying he looks like a movie star, blah 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 blah. So he was, because of his looks, he was very successful being a waiter, but I guess people didn't like him for whatever reason. I think his personality doesn't match well with like jobs, because he's very like I don't know how to explain it. He's a very creative person, I guess. He's not, I don't know. He doesn't let people or dominant person. He doesn't let people talk to him a certain way, I guess. So he always had a problem with authority, and maybe that's because his mom's a cop. I don't know, but he has some type of problem with authority. So he couldn't like keep a job. So he was like homeless for a while, and he had to move back in, and then with his mom and dad, and things picked up for him once he became a porn star, because then he got some money in his pocket, and then he started a business with his dad, like fixing cars, and so he's doing okay. Well, he's doing more than okay. He's doing really well, but he like it's not like because he was Chad, his whole life was amazing. Like these people argue.
Yeah.
And then, so when you say Chad, is it just somebody who's really good looking, or is it also like a personality?
Chad, it
It's
can be both. It can be both technically, but like generally it's just used as a very, very attractive guy
Mm.
physically.
Yeah, and the theory is that Chad has such a halo effect going for him, and he's had positive reinforcement his whole life. He's going to naturally, be confident in everything. Which again, that is, if you've had positive reinforcement, yeah, you are probably going to be very confident. So
Yeah.
I do agree there.
And that's probably because your environment hasn't been the most realistic. I think that's how we have narcissism come about too.
Well, I think you can have a narcissist who isn't necessarily good looking, but actually believes that they are. Because there's another theory called dark triad theory that states that women are attracted to guys who present dark triad characteristics, which I believe is what it's narcissism, psychopathy, and sociopathy. So in those cases, it's go
Isn't
ahead.
that like serial killers? They talk about the dark triad.
Yeah, like a Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy had dark triad characteristics,
So
but
it's a
apparently that's what made him so magnetic.
it's a guy that basically is like they put on this extremely pro-social front, like try to be as charming as possible. Then you get to know them, and they're like just totally not like that at all. So it's sort of this weird disconnect where if you meet like they sort of sweep the person off their feet. So they're not like genuinely charming the whole way through. They're only charming at first to hide their sadistic nature. So that's why it gets confusing in the community or whatever, because they think that the guy just immediately like goes up and just like starts yelling at the girl or something. I don't know, and girls like that, when in reality they're just the person will be like just really charming.
Yeah, so that's dark triad, but we've kind of gone off topic a lot here, so I do want to bring it back. I think we'll go maybe like another 5-10 minutes, and then we'll start taking callers. So bring your topics, guys. Join us on StreamYard. I've posted the link in Discord and to Facebook if you're watching. So anybody who wants to call in will be doing callers in just a couple of moments. So join backstage, and I will add you to the stream if you have something to say or questions for any of us.
This guy in the comments says, "I have dark pentagram."
Dark pentagram. Yeah, I would love to hear what that is.
Yeah, it's next level.
Yeah, there's dark triad. He's actually got two He's got two more dark traits than the average dark triad guy. Wow.
He's like Anton LaVey level right now.
He may be the Antichrist.
Wow.
I actually have a comment about one of the comments that was made here by Segoy, where he said, if given the choice between enduring racially motivated insensitivity or having to decide between taking my own life via falling and or dying of smoke inhalation, I know which I choose. I'd like him to elaborate on that because, as far as I know, we weren't given any sort of a choice whether to jump out of a building because it was on fire or be attacked because of one's religion. One happened because of the other in extreme ways. I'm not saying that racism was not prevalent before 9/11, but I just don't understand where that came from. So,
Yeah, if you'd like to elaborate on that, he says you've triggered him. He's triggered.
he's
He's
triggered.
triggered.
I didn't
He's
mean to
triggered.
trigger you. I just meant to inquire. That's all.
I mean, you can go ahead and come on the show, and here actually, I'll post. Let me post a link into the YouTube chat, so that we can actually get people on. All right, there we go. Yeah, if any of you guys want to come on, I just posted the link to StreamYard in the chat. But yeah, so to sum it up, I think we all talked about our experience when we realized, we were living in a different world than we grew up in. But to your point, Evelyn, it's some things are the same, and it might seem different because they're done a little differently now. But I think what's that saying? The only constant is change. So I guess we all need to hear each other out to come to any resolution. People just need to really be more willing to hear each other out, because like we talked about in the first stream, if we as a human race don't get our shit together soon, it's over. All right.
Deep.
So, any of you guys have anything that you want to go into before we go to callers?
Nope.
Yeah, bring on the caller.
All right. Well, I posted the link in several places, so if anybody would like to join us, hop on in. And I don't see anybody yet. We actually had some good guests on the last two. They had some good questions until they decided to go places that they shouldn't have. But anyway,
Vicksburg.
yeah, that was not cool.
I could call in.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, we've
call
got
in as a character.
we've got Montgomery Mike on the show here.
How you guys doing?
How you's doing? Hey, yo, how you doing? Me, Sylvester Stallone.
That was really good. That was really good, Rocky. That was
Yeah,
really good,
yeah.
Sylvester Stallone.
I love those movies. I'm not gonna lie. I loved Rocky IV. That was such a good movie. It was so stupid, but like it was such a good movie.
I liked his inspirational speech he said to his son.
If I could change, we could all at the end.
I think so. Someone's trying to convince him not to box anymore.
Oh yeah, with Adrian.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, come on, we all know what made that movie was Giga Chad Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, no.
I must break you.
Yeah. I was talking about the one where he's old. He's an old man.
I think that's Rocky
Yeah.
Balboa.
Yes, that one. That's what I was talking about.
That one came out like in 2008. That actually was a decent movie, though. I thought it was gonna suck, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Did any of these Rocky movies suck? I don't remember that.
Rocky V was pretty terrible.
Let me see.
Rocky V was the one with Tommy Gunn, and it was just like it was a really stupid movie. Yeah, that one was terrible.
Wait, were you street fighting? Yeah.
Hey, while we're waiting for a caller, Evelyn, you want to tell us what you thought about the new Mulan movie?
Oh, it was really disappointing. It was kind of just okay. I feel like they took out everything that made the first one really good. There was no music. They didn't have Mushu. Um, the acting was kind of flat. It was, I don't know. If you go on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it like 70 something percent, but the audience score is like 50.
I watched the nostalgia critic review of it, and he was not happy with it at all.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. Disney's just making these cash grabs, so I don't know what we should have expected, right?
Yeah, well, his issue with it was that she was already like she was like this like perfect like Mary Sue. You know the term Mary Sue?
Oh, of course. I've read fan fiction.
So she was like this like perfect like Mary Sue. She didn't go through any like internal struggle to get where she was.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
that
I guess the struggle was supposed to be like she's really powerful, but society is sexist and she needs to learn a woman's place. But, then she learns to like accept her powers, I guess, and show everybody. But I don't know. I think the original Mulan, where they show her being, like clumsy and not capable, and then she has to learn to be strong, was much better. Yeah, this one was
yeah?
very like
I mean I
superhero-y.
yeah, which I guess the point in the first one is that she was really just an average person.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't she go through she went through a whole training montage in the first one.
Yes, and it was so good. And there's just like
What,
things didn't make sense.
I'm sorry. I don't remember seeing it. I saw it when I was a child, but I did not see the remake at all.
Yeah, the original was a pretty good movie.
Oh yeah, the original, I really like the original, but this one is kind of like if it's on, I guess it's not like a waste of time to watch it. It's like an okay watch, but don't pay $30 for it.
I couldn't believe they were at. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's like way more than it costs to actually go to the movies. Not that anybody can go to the movies now because Rona, but
I guess their reasoning is that they know multiple people are going to be watching it, but I don't know. It's not that good.
yeah, I haven't seen it yet, and from what I'm hearing, I'm probably not going to. Is that what we're gonna do, guys? We're just gonna do movie reviews on this channel now.
It would be funny.
Because I'm totally game for that. I'm a big movie guy.
Well, how long have you had this channel?
I've had the channel for like a year. I started live streaming like 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it'd be something fun to do, and I like putting out content. So
It's true. You're a content creator.
yeah, exactly. Influencer.
Yeah, the influencers will get 1 million subscribers.
I don't know. Well, Bina, they say you have a pretty large fan base.
Oh gosh, don't even, Jay. Yeah, apparently having a bunch of Facebook friends means you have a fan base, but what do I know?
Can you actually tell us that story? Obviously change the names, but that was so good. I got to tell you, I laughed so hard when you told me this. This was
So I dated a guy, a Chad, really, and he was very upset with the fact that I had a lot of friends on Facebook, and a lot of these guys would hit me up, and I wouldn't respond, but my chat would be going off, and I would show him the messages, and he's like, you may have all those friends on Facebook, but I have a bigger fan base than you on my Instagram. And I was really set off by that because I didn't. First of all, he doesn't have any fans. Okay, we'll just clear the air there. And second of all, these guys aren't fans. They're just men who obviously want some intimacy and want to just talk to a woman. Like it was just absurd to me. But You know, all in all, that was all insecurity talking.
Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, I have a bigger fan base than you." Like he actually thought he was a celebrity. That was hilarious. Like, but just to be clear, that wasn't an exaggeration. He did actually use the term fan base.
I mean, how many did he have? Like, what was his following?
Well, I deactivated it. I had like 1,500 friends, which isn't even a lot compared to some people. Like I've seen people have like what 5,000. That's the max.
I've seen that
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I think I had like 1,100 at one point, but that was just because like it was people. Because we've had Facebook for I've had Facebook for 13 years. It like shows you when you join. I joined Facebook in 2007, so it's like people I've met from like high school, then college, then like several jobs. Like it's just like people you've met from like all over.
Yeah. Once you hit 5,000, then you got to get shares or make a page. That's like a
Um,
whole new focus on the content.
let's read some comments here.
How to loose a guy.
How to Lose. Yeah, Jay's favorite movie is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Well, you got me. I mean, I do love that movie.
That's true. I've seen him watch that a bunch of times.
He also says a typical modern woman who is constantly in competition with everybody, including their romantic partner. No, you're missing the point. It was him who was in competition. Like she's not the one who made it the issue. Can we clarify on that? Like, right? It was this person who came out of nowhere and said, like, well, I have a bigger fan base than you.
Right. It just came out of nowhere.
It was like no, like this person was not well.
Definitely not well. But yeah, no, he saw my Facebook account and brought it up to me because Facebook was always an issue with him. So I didn't personally care, but he thought this was like the challenge of the fan base.
Yeah, that was I laughed really hard at that. That was a great story. I was like, so, which is crazy because like I don't I really don't care who talks to my girlfriend on Facebook. It's like like if you are insecure about that, you like I feel like that comment just communicated the biggest insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. But also like if people are hitting you up like they were hitting me up and I'm giving you my phone and showing you like, hey, some of these guys are actually my friends. You can look at the conversation. 99% of them are in, I believe Facebook like Messenger has like a filter too, where like they'll just filter some of like the messages. But I had nothing to do with that. And he's like, well, I don't understand why they're hitting you up in the first place. I don't know either. Why don't you
Really, I
ask
mean,
that?
it's like, it's like, does he not know that it's 2020? Like every woman gets hit up. Like
Exactly. Exactly. So it's not just me. I don't, understand.
that's just how life works. Like be secure about it. Like if you're really that great, why why be worried about that?
Exactly. And, considering the fact that he was in a field where he was just putting himself out there for the world for admiration, I should have been the one who was insecure. But, I just didn't care.
Yeah, I mean, he made it very big, so
Everything was besides a few things.
yeah. Ooh, I'm getting a bad echo. Does anybody else hear that?
No.
I do.
No, I don't hear anything.
Did okay, it seems to have fixed itself now. All right. I don't really have any other topics, and we are hitting the hour and 30 minutes mark. So if we don't get a caller, I'm probably going to end things up pretty soon. So I guess we'll just go around table and do final thoughts, guys. Evelyn, we'll start with you.
Well, basically, you know what? We were talking about how the world has changed, right? And
Yeah.
I think my perspective is that, things change, circumstances and technology, but like we still have all the same problems we used to have. I think human nature hasn't changed.
Yeah, good point.
It's just showing itself in different ways.
Yeah, no, that's solid. That's solid. Mike.
Did you figure out how to do the screen share thing so you can like we can all see videos on your computer or whatever?
No, I'm low IQ.
Are you low key though?
I'm my IQ is like 85. No, I think like the last time I had it tested, it was like 115. I don't know.
Really good.
Okay.
I guess high average.
Yeah,
But,
same as mine.
IQ mogged.
Yeah, your IQ
Um,
mogging hell.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I wanted to know.
He says you need OBS. Yeah, I mean this is a pretty low budget stream. I actually like if this goes well, I'm gonna actually invest in upgrading my equipment. I could probably use a new mic too. But yeah, that would be a good investment. We'll see.
Could do a comedy segment to the show or something. Make an
Oh.
intro.
That would be good. Or we could go. Or we could. I was actually thinking of going Jessica X on this one and doing 4 minutes of music as an intro.
Oh, wow.
Did you ever see that stream? Do you watch that streamer Jessica X? She actually had Face and LMS on her show once.
Somebody linked it, but the link was broken.
She did this one stream where there was like 4 minutes of music playing at the beginning, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like an intro is supposed to be like 30 seconds. I was like, "No, this is gratuitous."
Yeah.
Um,
What's your intro going to be?
I have no idea. Maybe we should work on that. Anyway, final thoughts on tonight's topics.
I thought Evelyn's comment was wonderful and totally accurate. So going off of everyone having the same issues, with technology, I hope we can all have compassion and understanding. I know it sounds cliche and corny, but a little bit of love goes a long way.
Yeah.
Nah, it doesn't sound corny at all to me.
Well, Discord isn't necessarily, a hub of compassion and love. So
that's
just put energy out.
If people from that Discord, that comment is gonna get chewed up, but that's all right. I think we're all pretty secure people on this show, so it's like whatever.
Somebody said, "Oh wait, no." I thought more people would be watching since they're talking about the stream in the Discord chat.
Yeah. Coming from the person who tried playing Pokemon with Facebook friends, I don't really know what that's in reference to, but okay. Anyway, all right. So yeah, good stream, guys. We'll definitely do this again sometime. I'm gonna leave it with yeah. So the world's changed within our lifetime, but I guess the only way to keep moving forward is to adapt and change ourselves and react to the environment. And I think everybody brought up a lot of good insight tonight, and we'll do this again. And I'll leave it with, it's not over.
Yeah, it's not over.
What's that Drake song where he's like, but it's far from over.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm doing me.
Yeah, I'm doing
I
me.
don't remember.
If I wouldn't get sued, I'd make that my outro.
I think
Oh,
Drake
that's right.
is-
It has to be something that like original.
Yeah, we gotta invent our own content. Can't just be lame and poach off of others.
I mean, you can until you get caught.
Yes.
YouTube will just flag him or whatever.
But I think
copyright strike.
that's what you really need to grow your channel. You need scandal. Just plagiarize.
Fine, let's have a big fight on the next stream.
Okay.
No, I honestly like I try to make these as candid as possible. Like mom and dad, I don't think I kind of felt bad because they had no idea what they were getting into at first. Like he came back, he had a lot of scientific fact to back his argument, but I actually think that like they kind of like learned and saw that the world is not the one they grew up in.
Yeah.
But that's why we have the streams, and like it was a little disappointing that nobody called in because like we do want to hear the opposing argument. Like that's I think we try not to just attack the character here, but go after the argument. But we do want to hear the opposing arguments. That's why I thought that was the best stream we ever had because it was really a meeting of generations on the issue.
Maybe people are just shy. They don't want to call in.
I think it's more. This stream isn't about something specifically black pill that these guys can call in and spurg about.
Yeah, but I don't want to make every stream about that. To be clear, like we have a lot of mainstream stuff too. The reason that I got into black pill is because I saw how it affects what's happening in the mainstream, what's happening in the world. It was something that I would have never thought about until I found the content, and then it was like super eye opening.
Yeah, same. So it's still so it is mainstream in that sense.
It is becoming more mainstream.
It's like on the cusp. It's like teeter-tottering back and forth.
Yeah, but we do want to give like a accurate representation because like what I've seen in the media so far is like it's like anybody who thinks this is a terrorist, which is not the case.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you might be surprised, but actually, most people are not terrorists.
Actually,
what I had actually found was most people were in fact not terrorists.
pretty rare.
Yeah,
is this true?
It's like a niche
has
thing.
that been tested? Has that been tested?
I don't have the numbers.
Okay. We have to suppress this. We can't let people know this. That goes against the narrative. We can't.
All right. But yeah, on that note, I think I'm gonna sign off if I can figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, boomer. You're such a boomer. God.
Yeah, I'm a boomer born in a millennial's body. So
yeah, me too.
I'm gonna go read like a book, like an actual paper book. So
those exist? Fuck.
Yeah, but yeah, you guys have a good night. Thanks for having me on.
You
too. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right. On that note, I think I'm going to end the stream because we are going on about an hour and 40 minutes here. So, Mike and Bina, thank you guys for coming on the show tonight, and
Thanks. Bye.
we will talk soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.